first video we're trying out here in a while. Last time I made a video was back when back a little while ago. I decided I was gonna edit some videos to put up online and have a little bit of fun and whatever, and it was very high effort, and I didn't get the response I wanted out of it like I'd like to. So now we're on a completely different spectrum for completely different reasons. I'm doing my NBA that I started earlier today, and this is one of the games that I play whenever I'm really ain't feel like doing nothing else. So we're on here, but you know, I started this video because this lady, she inspired me to make video or whatever, and I'm in a tough situation with it. Her channel name is Optimization, but I'll make sure to put it the link to her channel down in the description. And yeah, so I remember listening to her a couple weeks ago, and she got in my head a little bit, and so today I was kind of struggling a little bit, and so I decided to look up another one of her videos, and so I'm trying to transmute my energy into different areas. Right now I'm struggling with porn addiction, so that's one of the things, and then just trying to figure out who I am, I guess. So here we are, but I'm just kind of going into this thing, let's say, open-armed. I don't know what way to put it, but I'm just kind of here talking on my feelings and giving you a look into what I do a little bit. So I'm not really expecting this to get much traffic, but I'm just doing something to, like I said, transmute my energy. Anything but doing something that I feel is negatively affecting myself. So yeah, I've been in a like kind of a depressive state the past couple of days. I'm active physically, and I'm moderately socially active. I don't really have no super close friends or social group that I'm close with, but I play basketball and stuff, and I get around a little bit. I talk to people. It's not like I'm a hermit or anything like that, or whatever you want to call it. But it just I'm hoping I can get a social life here soon. Something that I've pictured in my head. Like it's a dream I have or whatever. So I'm hoping that'll turn out here soon. And so, anyways, I'm kind of moderately social, but uh, it's still like I don't have no. I guess I kind of look sometimes outside of myself for relationships to possibly change how I feel. But people people always let you down, compared to what you're thinking. You're thinking one thing about the person you meet and how it could possibly end up, and having so many interactions with people over the last, couple of months, and what they turned out to be compared to what I pictured them to be, or what they could possibly be, or kind of the effort I put into it, but I didn't receive, what I thought may happen, back. But it kind of, I think maybe it was gnawing away at me. So, um, yeah. So, now we're here, and I'm at a day where I don't know if you can see, but I got some pajamas on, my fuzzy socks, and I got a sweatshirt on, and that's kind of because it's cold in my room, but it's kind of also a sign that I'm just in a depressive state right now, and I don't really feel like doing nothing besides laying back in my chair. And that's another thing I like doing when I'm kind of low energy and I'm feeling like shit, is I like playing with the controller, because I grew up playing with the controller, so it's like it's not as much effort. I can keep my controller down here. If I'm playing on the computer, I gotta put my hands up here and do all that. I ain't doing all that, so we're this is where we're at. Um, I've only been through one season with this team. I'm kind of switching to the gameplay here because I'm kind of explaining what's going on a little bit before I continue. But I played one season with these guys, and basically this is I started in I think it's the LeBron era, and I started with the Cavaliers. I usually try and start with the team that's not very good, that doesn't have any star players, or they're old or whatever, just so I can turn it around and make it into a franchise team. But I'm not really, I'm not really too, going super hard this time on trying to get them to win. I'm just trying to have fun and build a team, because I like building a team. It's different from the real universe and then playing with it in the game. So, a lot of the times I'll get sucked up into it, and I'll try and win as many championships, and then I'm not having fun. So, uh, but yeah, we'll see what happens with this. But basically, I just went through a season, and I kind of traded away the bad contracts and the old players, and the people that weren't really good for the team, and so I went through a year, and we ended up doing a lot better than I thought we might. We ended up being the seventh seed, and I kind of. I mean, the lineup isn't bad, like, especially, when you start out in these older eras, a lot of the teams, even the good ones, have mediocre, or as compared to the modern era, where there's a lot of higher overall players. There's a high quantity of higher overall players, and in this one, there's a very low quantity as compared to them. So the teams that are really bad are really bad. So my team is actually, like, it's still bottom of the pack, but it's not terrible, because I almost have 480 overall. So we ended up doing good, and also sometimes it's not even the overall. There's just some characters that are just their tendencies and intangibles are set to a certain way that makes them be really good in the game. Whatever. I'm not gonna get too nerdy into it, but this is the second season, so now we're trying to since we were already decent. I don't really know what we're gonna do, but I'm gonna try and get a star player at least. I think it kind of just is gonna be how I end up. We're gonna see what players we can trade away, and then if we're gonna take what it gives us, essentially. So whatever. But I was talking about depression. So yeah, I'm just not feeling too hot. I think I couldn't really say exactly what it is. I couldn't really put my finger on it, but I was in this group of people. Is kind of like a. I'll just shout out the name of the thing, to be honest, because I think a lot of people could use it, and I needed it, and the time that I was, the stuff that I was going through. But um, you know, it's so ACA is what it's called. It's called Adult Children of Alcoholics. You know, if you're struggling with your life and stuff, and maybe with addiction or whatever, there's stuff going on in your relationship that you can't really explain, that you're kind of in a cycle. With I think maybe it'd help you out, and that group isn't subject to, like, it's not a religion. It's built around religion, but you don't have to be religious to be in it. But there still is some of that religious pressure. But I'll just throw it out there just in case anybody needs it, because it helped me in my time. So, A, yeah, ACA. uh, that's what it's called, and maybe you can search it up, and you can go on their website and find places, find meetings around you, or you can do online meetings, and there's a lot of different options you can do. So if you're not feeling like meeting people in person, you can always join online web calls or whatever. There's plenty of people that'll have you and whatever. So I joined an online one too, and they were happy to have me on there or whatever, and I'm sure they wouldn't mind if you didn't want to use your webcam or whatever. So that's an option for you. And, yeah, so ACA, I haven't really heard many people talk about it online, and so I figured I'd just mention it. Uh, they're they they're not really, their thing isn't really advertisement and stuff. That's not their thing. It's kind of word of mouth kind of deal. So I'm spreading the word with my mouth. Um, so yeah, we're gonna try and get Carmelo Anthony, because I love Carmelo Anthony as a basketball player. I love his game. I personally copy some of his gameplay style in real life whenever I play basketball. So yeah, yeah, I'm gonna try and get him. All right, well, we didn't get him, so I'm not gonna try for anybody in free agency. I'm gonna build this. I'm gonna trade for whoever, you know. But yeah, so ACA really helped me out there for a while. I was in a really bad relationship, and I needed some social interaction and some help with morals, and not really morals, but just kind of, I don't even know how to explain it really. It just helped me become more of a person. That's the most simple way I could put it. But so I was in there for a while, and after a while, it just kind of felt like you know, I was living up to expectations of other people, and I didn't really like being around them very much anymore, just because I was like, I was just trying to be this person, and it just, after a while, I didn't feel like going to the meetings anymore, and it just, it felt like I was pushing myself where I didn't need to go, so I just stopped going, and you know, now I have an idea of, like, where I want my social life to go, and I'm hoping, I'm moving in the next month or so, so I'll be moving to a new place, and I'll be getting a job and stuff, so I'm really hoping that I can make something out of that, and really start to get a social life going and stuff. But for now, it's kind of tough because I'm in the spot where I'm ready to go to the next place, but since I'm here, I don't really feel like I can grow as a person, just because, like, I feel like I've used all my resources, and then the people, you know, that I've even tried to make friends with in my time, even though I'm leaving here soon, it just hasn't went well. So, it is what it is, and yeah, it sucks. So I'm not really playing much of the game here. I'm yapping more than anything, but um, we're gonna. Mo Williams is on the last year of his deal. He's a good basketball player. He actually will re-sign with us, and he might be good for a couple of years. But he also has $8 million on his contract, which is quite a bit. I don't know how much. Let me see how much he wants to re-sign for. All right, that's not happening. That's not happening. I got Greg Oden. Unfortunately, I don't think his overall goes very high. I think this is. I'm not sure if 22 years old was before his injury or not, but they don't make him really good in this game unless you like draft him, like out of the Kobe area. Like if you go Kobe area and then you play quite a few years and then you draft him in the draft, I think he'll be good then. But since he was already on a team now, I don't know. They just don't make him very good, which is unfortunate. But um, I'm also going to trade Boris Diaw. So these are two big contracts on these players, and they're both expiring after 1 year. So it wouldn't make sense to not trade them because I need to get value out of these players instead of just letting them go. And we're trying to get somebody who we can build our team around. So, yeah. But yeah, so we're trying to search for social connection and stuff, and like I was talking about earlier, I'm looking for I'm looking for social connection, and I don't feel like I can find that here, and so I'm just looking for people that like share my interests that I can be around, and I also want a little love life, so uh, I'm just trying to blossom in my life. I'm a late bloomer, so I have you know I have a very good understanding of where I'm at and whatever. It's just like I can't. It's even though you know what you want and you know you have all the tools to you have the personality traits and everything. You have everything built up to be that person. You're just not in the right place at the right time or something. I don't know what it is. I still don't even really know what I'm talking about. I'm just hoping it'll work out, the way I'm thinking. So, um, but it's also just weird times where I feel like, I feel that a lot of the time. I feel like if I was born at a different time, maybe things would be a little bit different, and maybe it wouldn't be as uh, I don't know. Just with the internet, it's like and it's cliche to say and stuff, but people don't like. Kids used to run around all the time outside. Like I remember even like at the tail end of before, like before. So I was born in like 2005. So by the time I was like 5 or like 9, like mid 2010s, right? Like kids were still kind of playing outside. Like kids weren't super heavy into smartphones and stuff yet, and whatever. And so you would go outside and like you just like go to your friend's house and then just asked if he wanted to play. He'd be like, "Mom, can I go play?" And then you literally fucking run around town for like I don't know, like a whole day, and then you'd come back around nighttime, and that's just what it was like for me because I was in a small town. But I'm sure there's similar experiences elsewhere. And now, like parents are always involved and stuff like that. Like your parents have to actually take you somewhere now because parents are scared that you're gonna get kidnapped or something, and if not that, the kids are on their iPad or whatever. I'm sounding like an unk here, but I feel like I'm preaching. So, but yeah, so I don't know. It's just weird times we're in, and I feel like you have to be in a really, you have to be in a like a already created group, like in order to find that social connection. Like you have to like you can't just like go out on the street and make friends anymore. Like you can, but like most likely they're not gonna have the same views as you, or it's just not gonna work out because they have a friend group or whatever reason. But like if you know what I'm saying, like I feel like you have to be in a certain job or something like that in order to make friends and like a culture that's already been created so that you can find people like similar to you. Like you know it ain't easy to get, but you know like they say, anything that's worth getting is hard to get, something like that. I don't know, that's probably not the exact quote, but yeah. So um that's just kind of what I'm dealing with at the moment, and this might also be a way to help with that as well. So I'm not I'm not planning on becoming no internet superstar or nothing like that, but you know, maybe this can help with the social part, you know, finding people that are similar to me, you know, whatever, who knows, but it's really just an outlet. I think I got tired of like journaling and stuff because like I was just like I just didn't find it interesting to uh I didn't find it interesting to journal anymore. Like I felt like I was on the grindstone, but I just wasn't like, you know, I was journaling every day, but just, you know, I wasn't out there doing the things that I wanted to say I wanted to be doing in my journal, you know, like I was getting a lot of insight and stuff, but it just wasn't helping me anymore because I wasn't, you know, getting to what I needed to do. So, and so that's why I'm doing this. I'm trying to do more things. There's this guy, I don't know, he's from Kentucky. He has a YouTube channel, and he's an older guy. He's kind of he's popular, but I don't know how many people know him. But he's this like old rancher type guy, and he has like horses and stuff. Whatever. He's like got grandpa vibes, and he was like talking about philosophers and how they you know they write all these things, but you know they don't they don't actually do anything with their life, you know. Like I think he uses Nietzsche as an example about how, I mean, he just sat and like write all the time, but he didn't actually go out and do anything. And I don't know actual facts, like if he actually did go out and do stuff, so that's his words, not mine. But you know, he just said, you know, if you're sitting there writing all the time but you're not actually doing anything, then you know, what's the point? You're still feeling sorry and you're still in your room. You're just writing about it instead of, you know, whatever. So, and then he uses Teddy Roosevelt as an example of somebody that did great things. Um, the one that built the Panama Canal. That's the one he was, or there was Theodore and then there was Teddy Roosevelt. I'm talking about Teddy Roosevelt, the one who built the Panama Canal and stuff. He didn't himself, obviously. A bunch of people built it, but he's like signed off on it or whatever, you know. So, um, yeah. So he gave that as an example and was like, well, if you're gonna write about something, you better write about stuff that you're doing, and not you know, not just thinking to think, you know. So, um, and in that way, I mean, I'm making a video about what I'm thinking, but it's also about what I'm doing. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just coping to get through this time before I move, to be honest, is what this is. So, I don't know. I don't know, but we'll see how this ends up taking us. Paul Millsap is not the guy that I wanted to get, but it's I had to settle for him because there's nobody else that I really wanted. So, but it's fine. This will be another gap year, We might be a playoff team. The goal is not to win a championship right now. I just, I don't really care if the team is bad again this year. Really, I could just trade away. I don't know what we're gonna do here. But since I'm on 2K, I've played 2K since about the middle of high school because my friend got me into basketball and I love basketball. And 2K as a multiplayer game sucks because I really enjoy doing my league because it's like it's your canvas. You can paint on it. It's a universe with all different sorts of eras now. They have in the new games you can play all the different eras and stuff. So it's really amazing to play it, and it's your canvas. You can do what you want with it. You can build whatever team you want. You can simulate 100 years if you want to. Like, it's fucking amazing. But with the multiplayer, and I did play multiplayer back in like 2K20. And I mean, you could make a build, and you could spend, I don't know how much time. You'd spend a decent amount of time, but like not a whole lot on grinding VC for your character in my career, and like it was a good amount of VC that you would have to upgrade your character. Like, it wasn't ridiculous, but now it's ridiculous, and you have to pretty much spend money to want to start a build. Otherwise, you're going to be grinding for weeks and weeks just to get your build to a point to where it's bearable in Park or whatever. And Joe Knows made a video on the 2K community and how we need to step up or whatever. And really, since 2K21, 2K2022, I mean, I never ever spent money on the game in the first place, but those were the years that like I played probably less than 20 rec games still with my friend. But I mean, I would, those were the years that I played the most online. But since then, I haven't, because I mean, you have to spend a ridiculous amount of time grinding your fucking character just to get it to that, to be enjoyable. So, I mean, what he said, Joe Knows, he said about how we need to change and people just need to stop spending money. I mean, I don't know exactly what he said, but how I feel about it is that, it's bullshit that, what we have to do in order to play multiplayer. And I mean, people keep buying into it. People just keep doing the same thing every year, buying the VC and doing all that, and it's just making it annoying for everybody else. And it just feels grimy to play the game like that. But I just play my league. I'll play my league. I'll play quick play occasionally. I'll play some my team triple threat, but I don't really. I'll play like 15 hours and then I'll never play again for the for the rest of the game. And I sure as hell am not buying another 2K game. The only reason I bought this one is because I sold my consoles. So I bought this for like $9 on sale on Steam, 2K26, just so that I could play my league. But I'm not gonna buy 2K27. I'm not gonna buy it so that I can play my league, because this my league has everything that I want. I'm not gonna be able to play it because whenever they come out with their new games, you can't play your my character that you spent money on or that you spend a lot of time grinding, which is another thing that I never agreed with. That's another reason why I just stopped playing multiplayer, especially because even back then, 2K20, 21, 22, it wasn't that bad to grind up your character, but it just made it so, even though it wasn't that bad, it was still just like, I gotta do this again, and that's whenever the grind wasn't even that bad. So I just like stopped playing multiplayer in my career because it just wasn't fun anymore. And you can't even go back on 2K20 because I tried, and you can't even go back and play my career like solo. Like, you just can't play it as a whole mode. So, yeah, it just sucks. It really does, and it's grimy. It sucks, and it's not fun. Yeah, the ability to like, take one character from a game and transport it to the other, that's great. I'm sure a whole lot of other YouTubers have talked about it. This is just kind of a side conversation in this video, but like, I just think it should. I haven't played multiplayer in a long time. I only play my league, and I'm not buying any of the new games. Not necessarily to protest against what they're doing. I mean, that's kind of what it is, but most of it's just I myself personally am not buying it. A game like that. there's no reason to when I have everything I need right here on my league. I have all the eras. I have, people creating lineups and stuff online, whatever stuff that you can follow. And even then, even if you don't have the new stuff, like I'm still fine with, you know, there's so much to this. That's all I gotta say. There's just so much to this game mode, and there's quick play and stuff. And if you can do local like LAN play, you can play like one of my favorite things to play. I never really had somebody that wanted to do it with me all the time, but I had the most fun playing it. It used to be called Team Up on the previous games, but now they just got rid of the game mode on quick play, and now you can just whenever you're in quick play, you just both go on the same team, and then you can play as two characters on one team. And I found that fucking awesome, and it's so fun to play with another person, especially like LAN or local or whatever. So yeah, I mean, there's plenty to do for me in the game, and I just don't want to do what it takes for the multiplayer. And I hope that putting this video out and expressing my feelings about it will help people change, finally do what they want to do, not necessarily to protest against 2K, but because you have to do it for your own reasons. Otherwise, you're not going to stay strong and make it through. You're going to go back to spending money on the game. You got to have your own reasons. And if you, it seems like most people just want to keep spending money on the game and, dealing with the prices and all the stuff. So, so be it. And I don't know how much longer I'll play video games and stuff. I plan on living real life and not playing video games anyways. So I don't really care at this point. So things in real life don't even change the way we want them to, or people aren't activists like we hope them to be. I ain't nobody special, so it's like I doubt it's gonna happen in a video game. So it just is what it is. But yeah, so I guess I'll wrap this video up. Like I said, I didn't play much of the fucking video game. It was good to talk about 2K and stuff though while I was on here, and yeah, it was just nice to talk about this stuff, a little therapeutic. We'll see how I feel after the fact of making this video, if it actually helps or not, or if I go back to feeling like shit. But yeah, so I'm making this video to transmute my energy instead of going back to watching porn, because that's the last thing I want to do, and I think it's helping my life for the better not doing it, and the relationships that I have with other people, so, we're holding on, and I'm doing what I can, so, if I feel like making another video, I just might, but, yeah, I'm just kind of going with it right now. I'm not really caring. I will link that lady down in the bio. She's actually really cool. She has some good things to say. A lot of cliche and inspirational talk type stuff. But sometimes it helps to hear it from somebody else or whatever. And she's kind of went through similar things that I have. So yeah, I'm not necessarily religious. That's one thing I'd really like to point out about myself. I'm not really not a religious person at all. So I raw dog it. I don't use any guidance, and like I said, that program is kind of religious and whatever. But yeah, I don't believe in God or nothing like that. So yeah, I'm a bit scared to upload this video because I'm scared about if people I know will see it. So, well, somebody's calling me. I better get to it. But Alright, I'll see y'all guys later. Hope you enjoyed and took something from it. Alright now.